Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. You are welcome to from wherever you are connecting. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Can outer change the inner? Certainly, the outer cannot change the inner. However, it can help, and at the same time, it can hinder. Outer can create a situation in which the inner can explode more easily. You have to remember one thing, that the outer transformation is no way the inner transformation. Even if you have done everything and the situation is there, the inner is not going to explode. The situation is necessary. It is helpful, but it is not the transformation. And those who get involved with the outer is a vast phenomenon, and you can go on changing the lives. Vast means there are so many dimensions of outer life. You will continue changing things one after the other. Go on changing for lives, but you will never be satisfied, and something or the other will remain unchanged. So those who try to bring the inner change through the outer change cannot achieve that. Unless the inner changes, the outer can never be perfect. You can change your mannerisms, you can change your gestures. This is what happens when you are doing the actors. Actors, when they are performing on the stage, they act on the stage according to the script, but that does not change their inner. You may act according to the script given to you by your religion, by your priests, by your family, by your society. Does this change anything within you? You will never come to a situation where you can feel, now the field is ready. So many have wasted their lives. If your mind becomes obsessed with the outer, with the food, with clothes, with gestures, with behavior, I am not saying to neglect them, these are to be neglected. No, I am not saying that. But do not get obsessed with them. Do not think that by changing the outer, the inner can change. The inner can change. I have heard every year during the month of October, the Hindu festival is celebrated, the return of Ram after the victory over Ravan. So the act is enacted during the 10 days period of Dashera. So during that period, the portrayal of Ram's act are performed different. He stays in the forest. So it is done that way. So Ram broke the bow to get married to Sita. So this act is also performed. So it used to happen that there was in a particular area where when I used to go during that time to my grandfather's shrine, where there will be a spiritual gathering. So nearby this act used to be performed. So at times happened to go there. So one day it was the same act was to be performed. And Ram was to break the bow. So there was a girl who was enacting the part of Sita, one for Ram and one for Lakshman. Both actors, both persons who were acting the roles of Ram and Ravan, they had liked that particular girl who was enacting as Sita. It happened. Ram broke the bow, and traditionally she was to get married to the Ram who broke the bow in the act. So when he broke the bow and the Sita was to perform the wedding ceremony by placing the garland around his neck, he looked at the person who was acting as Ravan, who was to show that it could not do anything. He looked towards him, and then he smiled. So he got angry. And he forgot that he was acting in the stage, on the stage. His reality came up. In another act, the person who was to enact Sita or enact as Ram, he was a smoker. So he would have been somewhere smoking. So the announcement took place on the PA system. Ram should stop smoking and come his makeup, get himself makeup done. So by doing the outer changes, the inner life does not change. Then it becomes an escape. Then you just go on postponing the inner change, and you can go on changing the outer. The inner is not touched in any way by the outer change. The inner remains the same, unchanged, as had happened in that case. There, you might have heard there are stories in Indian fables, Panchtantra, which in the Western world is known as Asaf's fables. Asaf is another name, I understand, for Buddha. So, the Asaf's fables, Panchtantra, it is said there was a mouse and he was very much afraid of a cat. So constantly in fear, in anxiety, he could not sleep. He would dream about the cat and would tremble even in dream. A magician, just out of pity, out of compassion, transformed the mouse into a cat. So now the mouse that was afraid of cat has been transformed into a cat. The outer was changed, but immediately the mouse within, the cat, became afraid of a dog. So because the magician saw the mouse was afraid of cat, so he transformed the mouse into cat. Now the inner mouse remained afraid. The fear remained there. So inner mouse now became outer has changed, become cat. Now the inner mouse, it remains the same, inflicted by fear, but there is outer form is of a cat. So cat is afraid of dog. So the inner mouse, the fear that was there in the mouse, now outer is cat. He became afraid of the dog. The anxiety was the same. The fear was the same. Only the object had changed. Previously, it was a mouse. He was afraid of the cat. Now, the outer has changed. He became cat. So they became afraid of dog. The trembling continued. The anguish remained. The dreams will still be of fear. So the magician changed the cat into dog now. Cat into dog. Immediately, so the inner did not change, the outer from mouse to cat and cat to dog. Dog became afraid of tiger. Dog became afraid of tiger because mouse within remained the same unchanged. The mouse was not changed, only the bodies was changed, the outer. So the same anxiety, the same fear, the same disease remained. And the same fear continued. The magician changed the dog into a tiger now. So maybe that can help. Immediately the mouse within the tiger became afraid of the hunter, because tiger is afraid of hunter. So the magician said to the mouse, "Now be the mouse again. I can change your bodies, but I cannot change you." This is what actually happens with every human being. You go on changing. Your society, your religious upbringing, your conditioning changes your outer but not inner. And unless inner is changed, the life is not transformed. Transformation happens when change takes place within. You have the heart of a mouse, so what can I do? The heart of a mouse is afraid. You can go on changing the outer by putting on the garb, putting on the clothes. There is a particular Sufi story. Sufis wear a gown, long flowing gown of a green color. So it happened, seeing the Sufi walking with a stick, a dog bit the Sufi. Sufi took the stick and hit the dog. And dog went to the village judge, that is known as Qazi, and complained that the Sufi hit me with his walking stick. So the Qazi, the village judge, called the Sufi and he asked the Sufi, the complaint is that you hit him, the dog, with your stick. So the Sufi said, he bit me, so I hit him with the stick. So the judge looked at the dog and said, the matter is squared. You attempted to bit the Sufi and he hit you with the stick. What the dog said is very relevant. He said, I know the Sufis are very innocent people who do not harm anyone, so I thought to test my canny teeth that this is the safest place. If I attempt to bite him, he will not harm me. So my complaint is, in the garb of a Sufi, he is not a Sufi. Though he is in the garb of a Sufi, but deep within he is not. He is deceiving through his outer appearance. So the very purpose, the very way of an awakened one, his inner transforms first. When inner transforms, then out of the inner, the outer changes. It used to happen for I have heard about Sufi Brij Mohan Lal. People used to buy him different garments, different clothes, and so he used to say, you want me to adjust according to your liking. You want me to come to this presentation or this congregation to put on the garb that you have brought me, but I wear clothes to suit my innerness. I suit clothes to I wear clothes that are in harmony with my inner change. This is how the awakened one is. Buddha took the robe, walking stick, and a begging bowl because the inner has changed. There is no desire. The inner transformation has happened. So then outer changes. My emphasis is, the emphasis is, you must remain aware that your outer effort should not become a substitute for inner transformation. The outer, whatever you substitute, going to the temple, going to put on a particular garb, should not be a substitute for inner transformation. One thing, take every help that can be taken. It is good to have the right food, but it is nonsense and madness to become obsessed with food. It is said, the Buddhist monks, they are vegetarian. One day it happened, a monk was going, a bird was flying with a piece of meat in its beak, and somehow the piece of meat fell in the begging bowl of that monk. He asked Buddha what to do. He said, you are not asking, but if it had happened, you have to accept it as the divine will. So whenever the monks go for begging, the people where he is standing at the doorstep, they know this is a monk. They will not give the non-vegetarian items. It happened in case of the birth of Lalaji. His mother was a pious lady, vegetarian, where she will cook her own food. Happened that a blanket wrapped mystic appeared at the doorstep of Durga Devi and he asked for food. So she offered him the baked Indian flatbread that is known as puri and vegetable, but he asked for meat, a fish. So there was no possibility of meat in her kitchen. So she inquired from the nearby kitchen where the food was to be cooked, arrangement was for her husband, and she came to know that fish was cooked that particular day, and he asked her brother-in-law to bring that, Chaudhry Ulfat Rai, to bring that and offered it through her own hands, because when you are offering to someone, it is to be given through your own hands out of gratitude, out of respect for the person. You cannot ask because it is meat and you have decided not to touch it. You have to ask your servant to do it. I recall whenever Maulana Shah Abdul Ghani will visit my grandfather's place, so meat was being cooked for him. So my grandmother had separate wares for cooking the meat, and so it happened that because we were of a particular community where the meat eating was quite common. So my grandmother said that let your daughter cook the meat for Maulana, for Mauli Sahab. So suppose if she goes, so she tried to do, but she did not want to touch the meat, and she told the servant to clean the meat and put it in the pot, and she remained. So my grandmother was watching it, and he told her husband, Sufi Brijmohan Lal, look at your daughter, how she is cooking. She said, don't worry, don't cook the meat. And said, if her husband is meat eater, he said, doesn't matter. Even if he is a meat eater, he will leave the meat eating before getting married to her. It happened. Now, I do not eat meat. My daughter does eat. So when I go, visited her, and she told me that I have the meat. They know that I will not touch it or anything, but I will do everything that is needed. So she said, I have marinated the meat. It is in the fridge as you want. I would like you to cook it because this afternoon some guests are coming in. So I have no problem in cooking it. Simply, I will prepare the marination, prepare everything, but you wash it, at least you do that part there, and I'll show you, I'll tell you how to prepare the marination and how this has to be prepared. So my emphasis is that you remain aware that your outer effort should not become a substitute for inner transformation. One thing, take every help that can be taken. It is good to have right food, but it is nonsense, it is madness to become obsessed with that food. It is good. So I say, I do not eat the white flour. I do not I use only coconut oil, clarified butter, which is ghee, and avocado oil, high quality of that. And then, so there are occasions when I visit, I had to go for the restaurant. So I said, during that time, I am giving a challenge to my system that it does not become obsessed with this. So be not obsessed with this. If there is an opportunity comes, use that. Use that. Take every help that can be taken. It is good to eat the right food, but it is nonsense and madness to become obsessed with food. It is good to have the right behavior, but it is neurotic to become obsessed with it. You should not become mad about anything or obsessed with anything. In India, there are certain sects of the renunciates who are obsessed with food. Hare Krishna people, the Raj Yoga people, they are obsessed with food. The whole day they are thinking only of food, what to eat and what not to eat. They do not eat the onion and garlic. So the first thing they will ask if it has onion and garlic. In some cases, Muslims are very much fanatic about halal. So one day it happened when I was delivering some things to a supermarket. So one of the boy who was working there in the section, I knew him from the childhood. So I said, Mohammed, I will give you a packet of meat masala. You know what question he asked me? Is it halal? So how the spice could be halal? But they become obsessed with the word halal. They may ask even potato if it is halal. So this is what I want to caution you. Do not be obsessed with it. Be aware that a spice which is a combination of coriander, which is a combination of turmeric, chili powder, aromatic spices, nutmeg, cloves, cinnamon, mace. They cannot be halal. Halal is only for the living, the living things. Specifically, I think it is for the chicken, duck, goat, mutton, but not for fish. I may be wrong, but I am not sure about that. The inner must remain the inner, and the central and the outer, if possible, should be changed just as a help. Do not ignore it completely. There is no need to ignore, because really the outer is also a part of inner. The body has the outer and inner. The inner part is the veins and arteries. There is the outer part is skin and flesh. It is not something opposite to it. It is not something contrary to it. It is not something imposed on you. It is you. Your arteries, your blood vessels, your veins, your blood, your muscles, your flesh, your bones are part of one composite part that you are. It is not something contrary to it. It is not something imposed on you. But the inner is the central. If there is a blockage in your arteries, it will affect the outer. There may be something happen to the outer, it will affect one another. The outer is the periphery. So give equal importance to the peripheral needs. Peripheral needs is the food, the outer, the circumference needs as boundary needs, because circumference is the boundary. Just as a nation has a boundary, if I put it you as a nation, that your circumference is the boundary within which, if the borders are not secured, the inner part of the country will not be secured. So you have to secure the boundaries, the borders, that is periphery, the outer, so that the inner is also protected. But the boundary is not the house. You do not live on the boundary. You do not live on the borders. But you have to take care of it. You cannot neglect it in any way. You have to keep it healthy, nourished and nurtured, every possible. So take care of it, but do not become mad after it. Be not obsessed with it. Our mind is always trying to find escapes. If you become involved in food, with sex, with clothes, with the body, your mind will be at ease, because now you are going towards the inner. Now there is no need to change the mind. Now there is no need to destroy the mind. You give it right kind of food. To go beyond the mind, it is necessary. To go beyond the mind, it is not necessary to destroy it. You have to understand it. Only when you move inward, the more inner you reach, the more the mind, which is outer, will be at ease. The inner path leads, the inner path, or the path inward, it is towards the state of no mind. when mind does not create any obstruction for you. Mind becomes afraid. It will try to escape. It will try to escape something to do with the outer. Then mind can deny as it is. Whatsoever you do makes no difference. It is irrelevant what you do. Mind can exist, and mind can find ways how to remain the same. And sometimes when you struggle with the natural outlet, your mind will find some perverted outlet which are more dangerous than the normal way. Rather being a help, it will become an obstruction. I have heard once Mullah Nasruddin fell down from his staircase. So as he fell from the staircase, he fractured. So it was put in a plaster. And he was told for 3 months he cannot go downstairs. After 3 months, he came to the doctor and the cast was removed. Mullah asked, "Now can I go up and down the stairs?" The doctor said, "Now you can. You are absolutely okay." Mullah said, "Now I am so happy, doctor. You cannot believe how happy I am. I was so awkward to go up and down the drain pipe the whole day." Now listen to it. "Now I am so happy, doctor. You cannot believe how happy I am now. It was so awkward and embarrassing to go up, to go down the drain pipe whole day. For 3 months, every day going up and down the drain pipe. It was so awkward, and whole neighborhood was laughing at me. But you had told me not to use the staircase." So what he was using? He was using the drain pipe. The mind works in that way. The Sufis have used Mullah Nasruddin to say those things which cannot be said otherwise. So Mullah said, "Because you told me not to go up and down the staircase, so I had to find a way." This is what everyone is doing. If one outlet is blocked, then a perversion is bound to happen, and you do not know the ways of the mind. Their mind is very cunning, and it is cunning in a very subtle way. People come with their inner problems. The problems seem to be obvious, seem not to be obvious. It is not. All problems seem to be obvious, clear. It is not so. Deep down, something else is hidden. So, when somebody complains about his or her spouse, the problem is somewhere else. The homeopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine looks at the cause, not the symptoms. The solution for any problem that you are having lies in the cause. What is the cause of this ailment? And the cause is very simple, but it has become perverted, and you are now you overlook the cause, you are only looking at the symptoms. And unless something else is known, the cause, discarded, gone beyond, the problem will remain. It will change its form. And that is what we see. Our diseases becomes very complicated. It came into existence because of a simple cause. We overlooked cause and it has happened. Someone is smoking too much and he wants to stop it. But smoking in itself is not the problem. The problem is somewhere else. And you can stop smoking, but the problem will remain. It will take another form. And it will have to come out in something else. When do you smoke? When you are anxious. You smoke when you are anxious, you are nervous, you start smoking. And smoking helps you in that matter. You feel more confident. If there is an inferiority complex, you smoke and you feel confident. But you feel more relaxed then. Just stopping the smoking, your nervousness is not going to change. You will feel nervous, you will feel anxious, the anxiety will surface, then you do something else. And you can find something which is more beautiful as a substitute. It looks different. You can do something. You can use a mantra instead of smoking. Then you get obsessed with that mantra. So you feel nervous, you start chanting that mantra. So what are you doing with smoke? It is a mantra. You smoke in, you smoke out. You smoke in, inhale and exhale. It becomes a repetitive thing. Because of repetition, you feel relaxed. Repeat something, repeat anything, and the same thing will happen. You can use a mantra, saying Allah, saying Ram. No one is going to say anything to you that you are doing something wrong. But the problem is same. In smoking, you inhale, a smoke goes into you as you inhale, it goes out as you inhale. So the sound of Ram, sound of the mantra goes in as you inhale, goes out as you inhale. The problem has not changed, only you have changed a trick. Previously you were doing it with smoke, now you are doing it with a word. Repetition helps. Any nonsense will help. You can choose any word. The word is not important. The process of repetition is the one. You just have to repeat it continuously. So when you are feeling nervous, what you are doing? You are smoking at a fast pace. Observe it. You are smoking at a fast pace. You repeat a thing and it gives you relaxation. That's why you finish the whole smoke in a very short period of time. Repetitive. And this repetition gives relaxation to the smokers. Because it creates a sort of boredom. Boredom is very relaxing. A mother sings a lullaby to the child. Child is not feeling sleepy. So it creates a boredom. You think that you are doing very good thing, but it is a boredom that is created, and with that boredom it feels relaxed and goes to sleep. If you are smoking, everyone says it is wrong. And if you are chanting a mantra, no one is going to say that it is wrong. But if the problem is the same, I am saying it is also wrong, rather more dangerous than the previous one. Because with the smoking you were aware that it was wrong. When you were smoking, you were aware that it was wrong. Now you are chanting a particular mantra and you are not aware and you do not consider it wrong. This disease that you are unaware is more dangerous and more harmful. You can do anything on the surface, but unless deeper roots are changed, nothing really happens within. So with the outer, remember this, be aware of this, and move from the surface towards the roots and find the root cause. Why are you nervous? What makes you nervous? Someone is eating too much food. When you are nervous, you eat more. It can be stopped. You can force yourself not to eat too much. But why is one eating so much food? You don't need all that food. I have heard the mother, the French lady who used to live in Aurobindo ashram known as Mother, someone asked in response to a question, she said, do you think the energy that I have comes from the frugal meals that I eat? So you think the energy is coming from food. Some think that the energy comes from the non-vegetarian food. Vegetarians, you are vegetating. The real energy comes from the non-vegetarian food. You can force yourself to not eat much, choose a particular item that this will enhance your blood count, you eat that. It can certainly help, but what will really help is your own understanding, because this is not a bodily need. So something, the mind is interfering. So somewhere the mind is interfering. Something has to be done with your mind. It is not a question of your body. So you go on stuffing yourself. Too much obsession with food is a love need. When you are feeling empty within and there is an emptiness, you want to fill that emptiness with the food. You will eat more. The more you feel satisfied within, your love needs are fulfilled, you will be eating less. Observe this. The more you have experienced love within and it begins to overflow, you eat less and less food will satiate you. If you are loved and you can love, you will eat less. Realize this. Why is your eating less? Are you feeling more loving? Are you feeling that you have gotten that which you needed in your life and you are sharing it with you? Love has become your incoming breath, and now as it flows out of you as your outgoing breath, whenever someone loves you, you cannot eat more. And if love is love eternal, love fulfills you so much that you do not feel empty. When there is not love, you feel empty. Something has to be stuffed in, so you go on forcing yourself. And there are reasons. The basic reasons, the root reasons. I will take this in tomorrow's session because it will take too long. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.